holla. Come on, I take me, I take the kid and make him see, make him believe in chasing his dreams and destiny. Truly accept the knowledge, a part of the recipe. In order to have an impact, I first must invest in me. We sowing seeds, locally, globally, overseas. Integrity, dignity, yeah, we living by both of these. The seeds of my players had to take a knee to COVID thieves. The police keep taking knees on our neck, how we supposed to breathe. Now look at me, I'm leading the movement like Booker T. Let's look at the aftermath when Kaepernick took a knee. When MLK took a march, Coretta Scott took a seat. I look defeat in the eyes and I declare victory. On fourth and long, I go for the gusto, that's 6 for me. Right when I cross the TD, I drop down and I take a knee. I'm giving God all the glory for giving the grace to me. Like I take a knee every morning and thank Him for waking me. I take a knee.
Hey. Good afternoon here. Here we are on a nice Wednesday, 2:15 sunny afternoon in California. We're here with the UBNGO, Tony Sweet, our engineer, making things happen for us today. You know, as usual, we have Mr. James Winslow on the board. And more importantly, we got a great guest today. Our guest today is Anthony White, also known as A-Dub. And A-Dub's here today to kind of run a few things on what it took him to be in the seat that he now sits in today. And hopefully that template's going to get through real nice. So that's going to be a little tack time for us. But as we get going, we also like to be able to get a few drops in there. We have a quick little shout out to Project, and right now Project's doing some crazy things right now. They started the 9 programs. They've been embraced by WCA, Winter Circle Athletics. So their program is now starting to elevate, and it's starting to roll on wheels that are definitely filled with air. So it's a smooth ride. Also, what's cool is with Dream Givers is we got on with us is we got Perlina and Perlina's it's always awesome to have you to be able to get a fresh face, a beautiful person on board with us. So we want to say hello to Perlina and just a quick, as we get into it, a quick just update on what you guys are doing with Dream Givers, please.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for having us on Tag Time. So basically with Dream Givers, what we're doing is what we do all the time, which is reaching out to the community and educating. So education first. A lot of times people just don't make the right decision because they just didn't know why it was the right decision. And so we lead with education, and then we support with all kinds of programs and systems to help families become successful financially and to protect themselves and their family from the unknown. And it's an amazing tool. And a lot of families don't know that that's the first piece of the financial puzzle you need to address. And that's why I'm here, so that they can learn.
And then once you show it with that Perlina fragrance on who you are, then it's a done deal, right? It's RTG. You're ready to go.
Let's say they can't forget what I say. You know how they say you cannot unsee certain things that you see?
Yeah.
Well, once you know how easy it is to take care of yourself and your family, whether you move forward with me or not, you will always remember what I said.
There we go. Yeah. You know, also in line, as we give these shout outs, we'd like to give a quick shout out to Coach Stevens and his wife Corrine, and they're with the Friday Night Live, and just they're shouting the things that they do for coaches and student athletes up and down the state, and now they've entered it nationally, so they're doing some real big things. And then a big shout out to Coach V, Viliame Tuavai, and just the things that he does up and around, and the influence that he has had on a lot of us up and down. So we're really happy to throw these shout outs to these guys and just let them know that we're embracing them. We got good news though today is we'd like to just say congratulations to Tony Jefferson who re-signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. And it's pretty awesome, you know, when you're going through the transitions and the pivots that we have gone through in the last year and a half, and then you get to land back at the place that's embraced you. Man, you know there's a higher power that are working some good things right there. So we want to say thank you very much to Tony Jefferson for giving us the opportunity to sit right here on the round table and do a podcast. You know, recently we had a family event, and it's just go to show that Tony Jefferson is just not doing something to do something. He's doing it because he's part of what we do. You know, he's part of our family. So it's a good thing. And also my wife and her business is RTG. It's right here, and as we all say that it's ready to go, and it's Christmas time, and that's a great stocking stuffer. It's a great gift. So I just want to put a shout out there. And if you're not a great cook, you'll become a good cook. And after about a week, you'll be thinking that you're a great cook. But RTG is what makes it happen. It's RTG, guys. So I want to shoot that one out. And then out at San Tan, the season ended. We had our banquet last night, and I got to give a shout out to it. It was an incredible season. It's a one in a lifetime things that happened for us. We didn't win it all, but we gave our all, and that was really important that we were able to walk out with our heads high, and the kids all know it. We ended up losing, and congratulations to Mater Dei on winning it all, the national title. Coach Rawlinson, he does a great job over there. Their running back was incredible. They have an incredible line. They just have an incredible football team. And when you can turn around and know that you walk off the field and played 4 quarters of football all the way through, that's a good thing. But a couple of shout-outs to the linebackers. We all made our first team All-League. Samurai, Anderson, Carter Plew, and Jesse Schumacher. But along with that, one of our inside linebackers, our captains, Ethan Winslow was named the conference defensive player of the year. So I just want to give a shout-out to those guys that are doing what they did, and it's really good. But let's get back to why we are here. And we're here because we're here to sit down and listen to A-Dub, Anthony White, who is the head football coach at Santa Ana College. Incredible. He's the first coach of color right there in Santa Ana, African American, Mexican American, and he really is a trailblazer, a true trailblazer, because if you looked at us, the generations of the civil rights, he embodies that, he embraces that. Both of those segments that run in his bloodline is a reason I would think that he sits in the chair he is in today. And he didn't take that as a crutch. He used it as leverage of how great he's going to be. So now we just want to introduce Anthony White. We want him to touch base a little bit about what got him in the high school, and let's start it off because he's got something rare that most high school kids don't have at that age. Is he had a vision, and he had an incredible will to succeed, and he got influenced by the word Heisman. And Coach Dub, I just want to say thank you very much for being on the show with us today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Coach. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love being here. I love Coach Coco. Is one of my mentors when I was a young coach coming up, especially starting at Pasadena City College in my younger years. And I'm still kind of young, but did a great job. And you mentioned a Heisman Trophy. I was lucky enough, my senior year in high school, I was blessed to be awarded the national winner of the high school Heisman Trophy, which at the time was sponsored by Wendy's. And it wasn't just a football award. It wasn't just an on-the-field award. It was a student-athlete award. And it was really the best student-athlete in the nation. And won California, and I remember getting that letter before one of our games on a Friday night, and I was excited for that. And then we had an assembly the next week, and everyone's like, "What's the assembly for?" And it was, all the big brass at Wendy's and who sponsored the award, and the Heisman people, and they came to our auditorium, and I was a pretty cool senior that day, and let us know we were national finalists. And my first plane ride I thought was going to be on a recruiting trip, and it ended up being to New York City. The night, and I won the National High School Heisman the night before the college award. So
Awesome!
Yeah.
Love that up.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's awesome. A-Dub, and you talk about high school and that kind of stuff. When you look at memories and you look at high school, there's a lot of things. People remember touchdowns. They remember teachers.
Yes, sir.
Because you get mentors and stuff. People are GPS.
Yes,
you got some GPSs in there, and but when you look at homecoming, right, and everyone's got the homecoming dance, and they're doing all these kind of things, and you being a Heisman kind of guy, well, tell us the story on your date on Heisman, okay?
Well, it goes back to what I truly believe in, and that's family. Anyone that really knows me knows I'm all about family in the first place. You touched on it a little bit. You know, I'm biracial. My dad is black and my mom is Hispanic. My grandparents couldn't speak English. They only spoke Spanish, so I speak a little Spanish there. And my mom on the Hispanic side, she had 8 brothers and sisters. So there were 9 kids in that family. Just my grandparents. My grandparents were born in Mexico, and they really didn't have much. So growing up, my mom being the youngest, the third to the youngest, didn't have much, you know, and she was telling me a story when I was little. I was probably about 12 or something, you know, the 8th grade dance, and it's going to be cool. It's my first school dance. And she was telling me a story that she never got to go to a dance. Because going to a dance at that time, you know, is extra cost. And when you have 8 brothers and sisters and things like that, you really can't do those things. And anyone that knows my story and seeing how I'd grown up, we didn't have much either. But at the same time, my mom always worked hard. So my senior year, I get voted on homecoming court. You know, I'm a pretty popular guy and did a lot of great things in high school. And for my date, you know, everyone's wondering who you're going to take. And I asked my mom. And I asked my mom to be my date so she can experience a school dance. And as my senior year is my last opportunity to give back. And, you know, that's just the kind of family we are and the kind of person I am. And I always want to, you know, create memories. That's one of my biggest things as a coach and as a teacher. I want to create memories for my family. And I think you have a picture of that somewhere. But, you know, it was awesome to be able to take my mom and have that memory and to do those kind of things for my mom and my family.
Awesome. What do you think about that, Perlina?
You know, I have a 5-year-old son, and gosh darn it, I hope he asks me to his dance. That is a new goal of mine. I'm just going to plant the seed now.
That's right.
Absolutely phenomenal. Like, that is really a testament to how you were raised. That you could hear that story from your mom and make that decision when, you know, so many people believe all teenagers are so selfish. That was such a selfless and such an amazing self-aware decision you made. That's just phenomenal. I hope I can raise my son that way. Please ask me, son, to your dad.
Every time we can come in. You know, as we go and listen to A-Dub, influence, you know, as a student athlete, gets the Heisman, James, and thinks his first ride is going to be for a scholarship offer or a recruiting trip, and you're in New York. But let's take it to what you're doing right now. You know, A-Dub got into coaching, and we all do it because we love the game of football, and we love to coach. But you got to also love the elevation and what you provide for student athletes.
Definitely.
And it's not about hanging out; it's about getting out. And getting them out is making sure their grades are right and all that's right, because when their name's called, they might have a scholarship offer along with that name. So, A-Dub, you were blessed to get good guidance, be influenced by as a young kid to be able to see, you know, the Heisman that gig, and then you get a scholarship offer. We just showed that picture. Let's show that again. When he's signing that offer, now at that young age, here you are signing it. Yep. Now you're at the place right now where they're coming in and you're making sure kids are getting their names signed.
Yes, sir. Yes,
that
sir.
is what it's all about.
That's right.
You have gone
Yes,
full circle.
Yes, sir.
So I love it, and I just want to know. Then you went to Utah. You chose Utah, okay? And why?
You know, my recruiting story is crazy as well. You know, I mentioned before I didn't grow up with much, so you know it's just my mom. I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister, so there's 4 of us in the house, 4 kids total, and my mom. At that time, you know, in the late 90s, there's no cell phones or anything like that, right? And we didn't have a home phone. So to get recruited, this is a crazy story, Coach. You should trust me. To get recruited, what I had to do is we lived on Marshall Boulevard in Rosemead, okay? Across the street, there's a Carl's Jr. So we didn't have a home phone. So what I would do, there was pay phones on the corner. So I would go to that pay phone. I had the number from the pay phone. I would give that number to the college coaches. Then I would tell all the college coaches that recruited me, because I had, you know, some offers and a lot of colleges wanting to call, but I'm embarrassed to tell anyone I don't have a home phone. You know, my friends knew, but you know, when Northwestern comes to your high school and they say, "Oh, what's your number? I want to call you." "Oh, I don't have a home phone." Right. "Oh, I don't want to recruit this kid." So what I would do is I gave my number to the payphone out, like that was my home number. And I would tell the coaches, my mom only lets me talk on the phone from 7 to 9 at night because I have to do homework. I have to do practice and I go to homework. What I would do though is I would come home from practice, coach my little brothers at their practice, and I would do my homework sitting by the payphone every night for 3 months during the season.
Dude, I got
When
That's
they
a
would
movie.
when they would call,
That's
yeah,
a
man.
movie.
Wow.
on that, dude.
That's
When,
a movie.
That brought tears to my eyes.
When they would
That's
call,
crazy.
when they would call,
That's
I would answer the
powerful.
phone like it was my house, and I did this for 3 or 4 months. You know, the September, October, November, December, and I would pretend it was my house. You know, there'd be people walking by and crazy people, and this past summer of 2020, you had a lot of social justice and innocent minorities getting gunned down and stuff. I had that happen to me where police rolled up on me with their car doors open, their guns drawn.
Wow.
Because someone thought I was making drug deals at the payphone because I was there every night for 2 hours,
Right.
just answering the phone, talking, hanging up, just sitting there answering the phone. And they thought I was a drug dealer making deals.
Wow.
They put me on the car and everything. I've never told my mom that face to face to this day. She probably knows about it from a couple podcasts, but I've never told my mom because I was scared she wouldn't let me go by the payphone anymore, and I wouldn't
And
get
you wouldn't be
recruited.
A-Dub.
Exactly, I wouldn't get recruited. So that's how I got recruited, and I just gave my number out. I really worked hard to do that. I did that for 3 or 4 months, and
So you got the call.
so I got the call, and I would always talk to Coach Whittingham, who's the head coach now. He's the coach that recruited me at the time. He was a safeties coach when his dad was the defensive coordinator, Fred Whittingham, who since passed away. God bless him. And then after I committed and everything, his dad, Coach Whittingham, became the coordinator. Then after Urban Meyer left, he became the head coach. But Coach Whittingham was my coach, and I would, ask him, smart things like, who's on the roster, all the things that you read about online, and all these resources are all over the internet now, what you should ask a coach. Who's on the roster? Who's going to leave? What defense do you play? Those
Right.
are all the things that I learned from my coaches, and from me coaching my younger brothers, that helped me be a better player. So I would ask those things, and Coach Whittingham and I built a great relationship. And I remember my first recruiting. So I go to New York, win the Heisman. That's in December. My next trip is scheduled for January 15th, January 8th. And there's a couple schools I could choose from, and I really don't want to go, but I heard some great stories about tripping to UNLV. So I went to Vegas. I'm
you got it,
like,
right?
man, that was the best trip ever. Anyway, my second trip, I went to the University of Utah. Now, Division I's today can pay for your families to go on the recruiting trips with you. And that's a perk that just went into effect 3 or 4 years ago. But back then they couldn't. So at that time when I'm signing the letter of intent, I'm 17 years old. I didn't turn 17 till after I moved to Utah in late July. I'm a young graduate. My high school coach, who's in the picture, I think he's on my left, Coach Magical, who's since passed away as well. Coach Magical there in a maroon shirt. Coach Magical paid for my mom's plane ticket. We didn't have a home phone. How are we going to afford a plane ticket?
Right.
Paid for my mom to go to Utah with me because he knew that was probably going to be my number one choice to go. And I had a trip scheduled to Northwestern the week after. But I told him I really liked Utah. It was close. I kind of love the outdoorsy type feel. Small town, great university. I can get involved in more things than just football at the university. So Coach Magical paid for my mom to go to the trip. And, man, it was incredible. Coach Witt was incredible. I saw the projection of the program and committed on the trip. And the rest is history, man. It was awesome. Great
Now you're
decision.
A-Dub.
Yeah, no. I mean, shoot, I was an RA when I got into Utah, my true freshman year at 17. My mom gave me $100. She gave me I moved, I think it was July 15th. We got out of school June 15th. I moved to Utah July 15th. Camp started the first week of August. She gave me $100. I packed stuff. I think I had one backpack, a duffel bag, and a trash bag. She gave me $100. Yeah, you need to make this last because we don't got anything else. So all my other friends that came on the trip and that committed with me, I moved in with some teammates, so I didn't have to pay rent. And
You knew how to use the phone.
yeah, man, that's right. And I had $100 in my pocket, and they were going out to eat and doing stuff. Man, I was buying groceries. For reals. I was making, spaghetti, and that's all I could eat until we got into camp. And then in camp, they feed you like a D1 program. But for that month in the summer, they can't do anything for you.
Hands off.
So, they were buying KFC, and I was making toast,
Yeah.
and I was still, slumming it. And then I became an RA when I was a true freshman, which means now you got your room paid for, so you get the off-campus check. So, man, I was balling like in 3 months, and it just all kind of came together. Finished my senior year as a captain of the team. I was student body vice president of the whole university, and voted the first African-American black person to be voted at the University of Utah as student body vice president. Wow. With a student body of over 25,000 student athletes, and just did a lot of great things for people. And I've been blessed by so many people that have helped me along the way. And I just work, man. You know, I don't get a lot of sleep, and you know, I don't have time. I'm not good enough, you know, and that's what I've always told myself. I've never drunk alcohol. I've never smoked anything, never did drugs. And when people ask why and all that stuff, it's because I'm not good enough. You know, I don't feel like I can take the time or lessen myself to try to keep up with everyone who I want to keep up with.
Right,
so
right.
That's
wow,
my stance, man.
Man.
Thank you.
Inspiring. What the heck?
Dude. Well, let's move on because, shit, I'm about ready to cry. Damn.
Oh, man.
Man. Asura. I got Asura right there. Asura, A-Dub's the head coach at Santa Ana. Asura is the guy that runs the project.
Nice.
And him and the D-line coach from Keanu, they do a great job with their.
That's awesome.
We got to start sending the kids to Santa Ana a little bit.
Sir.
That way they can at least visit and hear it. You know, as we get going, guys, we understand why. Well, when you went to Utah, there was a lot of firsts coming, and that first turned out to be a rub-on. Mm-hmm. You rub on that thing, you get a first. Hell, you're the first here, and then you won your first championship. Exactly. There's a lot of firsts comes with you.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's awesome. But and everybody's first, there's a boss. And you met your wife.
Yes.
You met your wife, and that's a great story in the South too, dude. God.
So I started teaching in my first year teaching. I was a sub. You know, I graduated. You know, I wanted to be a politician. I was going to stay at Utah. I was either going to coach or I was going to be a politician. That's what I wanted to go into. My senior year in the summer, I was one of the main interns for Rocky Anderson, who was the mayor of Salt Lake City. And I had a lot of jobs for him. I majored in political science, majored in organizational communication. So I had a lot of goals coming up on doing things like that. I was going to stay in Utah. I was student body vice president. I'm meeting with CEOs of companies, the board of regents, the university president, vice president. I'm in these huge circles and these great people. And I thought I was going to do that. I thought I was either going to get into coaching or I was going to get into politics, one or the other. But then I look around. Huh?
Same thing.
Yeah, that's true too. But I look around and then realize that, you know, at the time, my family didn't have much. You know, they were staying in a hotel at the time, and here I am with a degree, and I'm kind of living it up. So I decided to come back home. I came back home. Thank God, my mom found an apartment right as soon as I graduated. My sister, because, you know, she just felt, you know, she needed to do something with her life. She joined the Army. So when I got home, my sister bags were packed. She's like, I'm leaving in 2 days. And we didn't know. She kept it a secret because she know my mom, you know, didn't want my sister to go on to military, you know, as number one as a female and those kind of things. My mom's really scared of that stuff. And there's a time of, we were still in war and stuff like that. But my sister said, you know, I just got to help somehow. I want to get a college degree and do that stuff. She did 2 tours, was in there for 8 years. Got her college degree. Now she's down in San Diego living it up. So congratulations to my sister, Jennifer. Yeah. But I moved home, started teaching, started subbing. And remember, we have our first back to school night. So I'm a young teacher, man. I'm like 22. You know, I'm on top of the world. I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to be a teacher. And I saw all these great teachers, great coaches that were influences on me, helped me get to where I was at the time. I wanted to become a teacher and a coach. That's where I decided. And we have our first back to school night. I tell my class, just like most of the teachers when I was in school, it says, back to school night, you bring someone over 18, bring an adult, I'll give you extra credit. And I'll give you extra credit. And my students are like, all right, you know, they're happy and stuff to get extra credit. And that back to school night, in walks my wife. Well, one of my students' older cousins who was over 18, and she was my same age, and I met her, and she was majoring in psychology, and she needed some hours observing student learning. I said, yeah, you do the observing, and I'm going to do the observing of you. You know what I mean? But that's how we met. That's how me and my wife met. And
See
we've
that,
been together
Asura?
ever
It
since.
happens it happens everywhere, Asura.
Exactly. So we've been together ever since 2004, the year I graduated. We've been married for 13 years now, together for 17 years. 2 beautiful children, Anthony White II and Olivia Grace, and it's beautiful.
Awesome.
That's
and
awesome.
when A-Dub talks about family, and well, he does a lot of things with his family, but I guarantee you guys have more pictures in Disneyland than you can get anywhere in Disneyland
We love
family
Disneyland,
pictures. I
man.
mean, everything you look. I mean, it's awesome because after we I can't even say after we didn't win
Yes.
against Mater Dei
Yeah.
that weekend, my wife and I went to Disneyland on a Sunday, and we acted like teenagers with no worries about nothing, and just enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
But I can see why you go there, A-Dub.
No, that Disneyland, really is the happiest place on earth. We used to have season passes, and I used to go after practice to get my mind off things because I'm a little like you, Coach. I get self-consumed, and especially as a defensive coach, you're trying to think of everything they could possibly do to hurt you as a team. So we just kind of get there and get away. And remember, I didn't grow up with much, man. I probably went to Disneyland once, and all my
someone else is dying.
What am I? Yeah, for real, Coach. It was a grad night, right? It was grad night. My English teacher, Miss Brooks, I love you, Miss Brooks. She bought my yearbook and paid for grad night and my cap and gown. I couldn't get it.
My high school
afford
DB
it.
coach bought my Letterman jacket. for me.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you. But all I ever wanted, man, I knew. When people ask like, how do you know you're gonna make it? How do you know if you ever made it? I knew I would make it if I could go to Disneyland and buy a churro. Oh man. You look at those, man, they're better than Costco churros. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nowadays, if you go there and get a corn dog, you really made it. You really made it.
That's right. Man. You know what I mean? Because you go and you're like, oh, Mom, can I get a churro? Can I get a corn dog? Mom, oh, I brought food. They made sandwiches the night before when you were sleeping.
Yeah.
But now you can, we go there and my kids have fun and just to be able to do that stuff, man, it's incredible. To walk in a store and be able to get stuff you want. I mean, that's what I'm trying to give my student athletes. It's more about football and playing time and stuff. Man, have you ever just gone to a restaurant and been able to pick whatever you want on the menu? Like, I didn't even know McDonald's had combos. I just thought the dollar menu on the left-hand side on the far, you know what I mean? That's all I thought they had.
Because he had that tunnel vision.
Yeah, because why are you looking at the combo? What's a quarter pounder?
Right.
I only knew the damn cheeseburger for 29 cents, 39 cents when I was a kid, right? But that's what it was, and
Tony, you remember that cost? Tony over there
He's
goes,
laughing back
Tony
there,
over there goes, yeah. Hey, but throughout that thing, your kids are awesome, Coach.
Thank you.
And A-Dub's not shy about showing his kids what they do. Just the other day, his son threw a ball from the street or something and it went into the basketball court in his yard, and it was all filmed. I was like, oh, my, why does he get all those things that work like that? That's a first. But he's got a son, and we got some video right here. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little clip. But you hear a father like son, and the son wants to be like his father, and A-Dubs influences his son by making sure that he's involved in all the stuff you do. Get to see the student athletes and stuff.
That's awesome.
So, when you get to see his son running the ball, you'll be able to get to see.
Hey, Jason, to the right.
Block somebody, Evan!
No, there,
Pistol, shotgun right there. It's kind of a balance set it in motion. In the 60 meters, the 100 meters, and the 200 meters. So he's got some speed, maybe from his mom.
I don't know about that, but if the mom is
but he's
fast,
pretty good.
let's just show a little bit of who's this?
Oh man, that's me at tailback right there. My friend Peter going in motion, turn around for the screen. I'm number 8. Cut that guy inside. Use my blocker. Go inside.
Hello?
Sprint outside him. It was good. Oh man, yeah, that's me right there.
Well, that's a father like son. A son want to be like a father, man. That's one fiber getting in the end zone the way they always do it.
Yes,
it looks like all we did was change the color of the uniform. That was pretty damn awesome.
Yeah,
I really like that clip.
My son is so special to me, and I say his full name every time I say his name. I say Anthony White II, because it reminds me of who I am, number one, and where our family comes from. I keep telling stories, Coach. I'm sorry. I keep talking
No,
so
that's
much.
awesome.
So my father's name is Anthony White as well. And I didn't meet my dad till I was, 20 years old. I was playing on ESPN, and I made a tackle against Oregon on ESPN, and they said my name on ESPN, and somehow, my dad saw the game and called one of my teammates who was on the team and said, I think that's my son.
Wow.
Called them the next day. They went online and looked, and it says your parent's name on the website of, went to this high school, his mom's name's this, and said, that's my son. And I got a call on a Saturday morning when I was 20 years old, and he said, hello, I'm your dad. You know what I mean? And his name was Anthony White, and as I learned more about the family history and what kind of happened, I have an older brother named Anthony White. So I'm really, my middle name's different, so you're technically not the third. But when I had my son, I named him Anthony White II because I'm restarting my lineage, my legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm the first. So showing that picture is special to my wife and myself and his sister, because our children are really our legacy, and you can't do anything. It keeps me to a higher standard knowing if I screw up and my name's Anthony White, it's gonna mess him up.
Yeah.
And it holds me to a higher standard every single day for him to see and for him to live through. So
That's
a little story about that.
You're a walking template, dog.
Oh,
man, you are. I mean, just in listening, it's incredible. As we get into a second half of life, and you got to change things, and that's what we're doing right now. Because look, you went through a transition.
Yes, sir.
The things that you did in high school, the things that you did in college.
Yes,
then
sir.
you coached there, then you jumped into a little broadcasting
Yes,
a little
sir.
time, and now you're a head coach.
Yes, sir.
But when you jump into that thing, you got to be able to create a finished mindset, and you got to have it in the sense of a template.
100%.
And then you got to be able to present it that it can transfer over, and then get absorbed and become somebody's fiber. And I think when that kind of stuff happens, you build that foundation. But with that adversity, how do we in this new universe leverage your strengths to be a GPS for the youth? How does that message carry over to the adults and everyone that's underneath your umbrella? Because once that football program is right there, you can get them all in that middle circle and put them right there.
Yes, sir.
And everybody else becomes outside your circle.
Yes, sir.
Whether they're your trainers or you put everybody in there, those are the ones that really care.
Yes, sir.
So when I say the umbrella, Coach, the things that you've implemented now that you're at Santa Ana, it's going to reflect those student athletes, those parents, your trainers, everybody in that circle. So by doing that, how do you make sure that message carry over and resonates and then builds on its own for them?
No, 100%, Coach. I think the most important thing to me, where it starts off, and it starts off with you personally, is respect. Having respect for yourself, number one. Number two would be to have respect for others. So first, if you don't respect yourself, it's really hard to respect anyone else. So once you respect yourself and you start respecting others, I think the most underrated aspects of life and aspects of people doing things is to be grateful for things. I truly feel you'll never be great until you're grateful. It's just more than you that are doing some special things, and people are helping you along. So unless you're grateful for those people, unless you're doing stuff for other people, you're never going to be great yourself. Growing up in the way I grew up, in the city I grew up, I heard a lot of people when I tell them these big draws, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to be the first one to get a scholarship. I'm going to be the first one to do this or do that. And even when I was adult, I'm going to be the first, I want to be the first black college coach in Orange County and junior college. I want to do those kind of things. I'm going to turn this Buena Park program that's won 8 games in 10 years. I'm going to win a league championship and go 9-1 and never have a losing record in my history of coaching. Those kind of things. People would always say, I hear good, I see better, right? Or I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I mean? So that always kind of fueled me. So I had to do it so the kids can see it, so the community could believe it. Because once people all around us growing up, people all around us, no matter where you are, no matter what city you live in, no matter what, people all around us have already tried to do the things you've done and have either succeeded or failed. Just like I tell my students, I said, You guys go to class and you want to do good. Why? Because I want to go to college. Why? So I could get a good job. Why? So I could have a good life and make money and have kids and do all that stuff. Great. I said, those are all tests. Going to college, starting a family, getting married, buying a house, buying a car. Those are all tests. I said, what do I give you as my students? What do I give you before the test? They said, a study guide. I said, exactly. Every adult you meet every single day is a study guide to your test that you're going to go through in your life, right? I want to buy a car. Shoot, I know a lot of adults that have bought cars.
Right.
Talk to those study guides. I'm going to take this girl on a first date. There's a lot of men out here that have some great first date stories.
And some that are still looking for a first date.
That's right. And those are all study guides for you. And it's just about having, when you show that respect and you show that love for other people, they're willing to help you on your test. And I've had so many people that I bounce things off of. I've called you multiple times, Coach. And those kind of things that we can go through to help other people and to go through those things to get that study guide on your own life, that's how you can change lives. I'm not trying to be inspirational. I'm trying to be transformative.
Nice. Because
the inspiration disappears when you leave. Yeah. That pregame speech, that stuff's over 5 minutes after the first quarter started, right? Yeah. That pregame speech is over. So if you need a pregame speech to get you right to play, well, you've already lost. So what I'm trying to do is transform you. I don't practice to teach you how to do things. We practice to show you what you should become. So when you react on the field, it just becomes you, and that's your natural reaction. That's why you practice. I don't practice to show you cover two, to show you to backpedal, watch number two, he goes straight. We don't do that. Okay, we have a great corners coach, Coach Peoples. We're trying to transform you to do the right thing all the time. Just like on the field, like off the field, and in your personal life, you can transform yourself.
Wow. Awesome, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm going to throw some names at you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to respond real quick on these. And when you hear the name Chris Ricks.
Oh, man. Chris Ricks is the impediment of professionalism. I think anyone that's ever met him they felt special in that moment. He does a phenomenal job. He's a great man of faith. He has a similar story, how he grew up and where he came from. But his professionalism, his empathy, those kind of things are things that I admire and I want to be more like. And I can't wait to work with him.
Awesome. Coach, as people hear this, a lot of different things pop up. So when you hear about the U, okay, well, what's the U? Is the U, if you're in the East Coast, they're thinking about the University of Miami. Yeah. But a lot of people that wear the red think, what's the U to you?
Yeah, the U is the University of Utah. It's a family. My teams, my programs that I run, we have a slogan. It's our family versus their team. And I know a lot of other programs and coaches have asked me if they can use that slogan, but it's our family versus their team. And that's what the U is. We're talking about the University of Utah, not the other school down south that fires their coach every 3 years. We're talking about the school that has Coach McBride, Coach Whittingham, the same coaches from the same family, from the same people that have mentored so many young men from all different walks of life.
Also,
University of Utah.
You know, because you talk about the University of Utah and me growing up as a coach in my middle years, right? I used to travel to Utah and I was part of their summer camps. Uh-huh. And I was invited over there a few years in a row by the next name I'm going to ask you about is Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah, Kyle Whittingham gave me a ticket to change my life. I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm definitely not the fastest, but he saw something in me that maybe at that time I didn't see in myself, and he pushed me. Maybe one of the most demanding coaches I've ever coached, played for. His expectations are just so high, and not just for himself, but for everyone he surrounds himself with, and you can see why the Utes are playing in the Rose Bowl on January 1st.
Nice. One of my first head coaches that I got to meet on a recruiting trip when I was coaching at it as a young 22-year-old was Ron McBride.
Oh, yeah.
He came and recruited some of our kids at Sweetwater High School. And you were blessed to be able to coach him. So the last name is Mr. Ron McBride himself.
Yeah, Coach McBride was the head coach that signed off on my scholarship with Coach Whittingham, and just creating a family atmosphere. You know, every coach wants their team to win. Every coach wants their team to be successful. But how many coaches really want their teammates to love each other? You know, and that's something that I take with me everywhere I go. And, you know, you just don't block for the running back as a lineman because that's your job. You do it because that's your friend. Right. You know what I mean? And you respect him and you care about him and you want to do your job the best you can. And Coach McBride built the program and did everything he could to infuse the University of Utah program with his love and his caring nature to really put it on the map. And Coach Meyer took it the next step, and Coach Whittingham is just taking it further and further.
Awesome. You know, at this particular point, I think this is going to be a good segment right here to just call a timeout.
Okay.
You know, like in certain times, Coach, it's either running good and we want the clock to run out, but we want to save a little time too. Mm-hmm. So I say let's call a timeout. And James, let's get you to jump in because James' son, and there's going to be some kids that are going to be watching this thing and want to hear from you, but can you touch base, James, on just give James an insight on JC football and recruiting JC football, and with kids that have their ACTs, everything in, how they benefit by being able to go there and performing.
Great, no problem. So junior college football, transfer portal football, D1 football, D2 FCS, D3 NAIA is running rampant right now. Today's actually the first day student athletes can sign to a university. So you're going to see a lot of stuff on social media, on ESPN tonight about who signed and who hasn't. What's not on ESPN and social media all the time is a transfer portal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The transfer portal has really transformed how colleges are evaluating student athletes and what they're doing. So if you get a scholarship to, say, you know, school A, and you're not having a good time, you could jump in a transfer portal, basically give up your scholarship, hoping another school will sign you and give you a scholarship at their school. The last numbers I've heard, there are over 1,000 student athletes in the portal. 300 have earned scholarships, which means 700 student athletes at a high level have given up their scholarships in hopes to get another scholarship, and they haven't yet.
That's a wave of scholarships.
Exactly. So with that said, a lot of college recruiters have gone to looking at the portal first because those guys have already been evaluated as a D1.
Yep.
So I can look at the portal first. I'm going to go to junior college second, and I'm going to go to high school third. Right. Because if I'm watching practice film and I'm watching film to evaluate a student athlete, this is what a college coach from the Pac-12 told me 2 days ago. If I'm evaluating a student athlete and I'm putting on practice film or game film, and I'm watching this guy in the portal who's at D1 and he's at practice against another D1 guy, or then I go to a JC film and I'm looking at game film from a college guy and a college guy, or I throw on your high school senior highlight.
Right.
Which guy am I going to take? Because whether we like it or not, these colleges and universities are not giving these college coaches 3, 4, 5, 6 years to build their programs again. They're not doing that. So you need to get student athletes in there to that can perform now, that can step in and start. So a lot of student athletes now that are in high school that are not feeling that love or getting that recognition or not getting those offers or getting low quality offers. If you believe in, let me pause real quick. The other thing that a lot of people forget about is the NCAA granted in 2020 an extra year of eligibility for all student athletes.
Right.
So like that year didn't even count. So now you got 5-year seniors staying an extra year. Now you have more graduate transfers. Now you have a sophomore who's still a sophomore this season, and everything's just a year back. So going with that, if you don't feel like you're getting the love that you deserve, if you feel like you can, if you just need more time, or a school says maybe next year, all that is true. You just have to bet on yourself. We had a student athlete that came to Santa Ana College, transferred to another high school for a senior year. COVID hit, didn't play his senior year, played in an off-season league, came to us. Thank God, his family trusted me. You know, I was 2 months on the job. Family trusted me, started for us, And he has 4 years, 3 years to play, 4 years on scholarship still because he played this fall, and he signed today. So in 4 months, he went from not playing his senior year, COVID, not having anything, to coming to Santa Ana College, earning himself a starting spot, doing great in the classroom, earning his multiple offers on the field, and now he signed today to a D1 school. And those are the kind of things you can do if you're in the right situation. I'm not going to be one of those junior college coaches that are going to bring you in and even mention red shirt, even mention gray shirt. Like Coach Coco said, and I learned it from him, our job is to get you out, not for you to hang out. So we want to get you, because the faster we get student athletes onto the next level, the better chance I get to get another student athlete in and to get them out.
With the same credentials.
Okay? That's what junior college is, exactly. And I see, some other programs and some other coaches that redshirt tons of players and say, oh, if you're scared to compete here, then you don't deserve to come here or go somewhere else, and we get this and that. And that's all good and that, but man, this is a kid that wants to go to the next level. This is a kid that's good enough to go to the next level. And here he is on the bench, and I got players getting offers because they actually played. They didn't redshirt and do those things. So I'm going to be 100% brutally honest with all my student athletes, because no matter what, not everyone's D1. Right. Not everyone's FCS. And that goes for the student athlete and the parents.
Yes.
Because just because your son doesn't go D1, FCS, D2, NAIA, D3 is not a reflection on your parenting. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot. As a father, I understand. It takes a lot for them to hear that. But that's not you. We don't choose the schools. The choose school's you. Your highlight gets you offers. Your play on the field, your work in the classroom, who you are as a person, and your character and your accountability and responsibility, that gets you the scholarship. Because now schools have to recruit you and then have to worry about if you're going to leave in a year or not. You know what I mean? They want people that are loyal, accountable, and responsible to be a part of their program, and we want the same at Santa Ana College, and we're going to do our best to get you out.
Awesome, Coach.
Man.
James, what do you think of that?
It's a lot of information,
Right?
Yeah.
The choose. I know you kind of messed up, but you said the choose schools you. I know you meant this.
The school chooses you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but,
my bad.
No,
My bad.
but the way you said it is true.
Yeah.
The choose schools you as well, right?
Yeah, that's true too.
Right?
That's exactly right. Yes, sir.
So it's like, when my boy plays at Centennial, we've been working hard for a solid 2 years, and even before that. And when you're at a high-level school like that, obviously you're going to see the big scholarships to the big 5-star guys coming and stuff, and you literally put a filter up to any type of JC talk, right? And you're kind of getting this mental like, man, if my son ain't getting offers, what are we doing wrong?
Exactly.
Yep. And I played college football too, and at a junior college. So it's like the Holy Grail that you just talked about that nobody really knows about.
Exactly. And that's what we're building at Santa Ana College. And I think it was a stigma, honestly, from our generation, from generations before, that said if you go to JUCO, you're gonna fall out.
Right.
Something's gonna happen. You're just gonna do that. And that's what I was always told with my friends too. But let me tell you this. The ones that want it bad enough, the ones that are willing to sacrifice, the ones that invest in themselves, that doesn't happen.
Right.
What happens is it just weeds out the people that just say it and don't really want it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everyone could say, oh, I played college football. I remind my guys, you show up on the first day and you do one drill and warm-ups, you're going to go tell your grandkids you play college football.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, man, I played college ball in my day. All you did is backpedal for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
But you got it in.
Yeah, I got it in. But at the same time, I've seen it, and whether it be Santa Ana College or another school, if you really love it, if you love football, I hear coaches say they talk to recruits, right? I have 3 players in the NFL. I sent multiple players D1 when I was in high school too, and they ask the student athlete, "Do you love football?" "Oh, yes, sir." "Oh, okay. What do you play? You play PS5, Xbox?" "Yes, sir." "What do you play?" 2K, basketball? Well, if you love football, why are you playing basketball game?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And they don't realize that. Kids love to be recruited. Maybe they only like football. Because football's a grind. And football weeds you out. Whether it be junior college, varsity, Centennial. There's a lot of kids that want to play on Centennial's team, but look at your team and like, damn, I can't play there.
Right.
So they don't play at all. There's a lot of people that look at Santa Ana College football team, and they want to play football, but they're like, damn, I can't play at all. And that's what it does. It just weeds you out. So by the time you get ready to get a scholarship, if you have great grounding, if you really want it, you're willing to work in the classroom, you're really working in the community, you're a great person, you show up every day, you're going to earn it. It's not about getting a scholarship, it's about earning it.
Right.
And you are a product. No matter what anybody says, as a student athlete, you are a product.
You're on the shelf.
You're on the shelf. And I could keep going. Man, I tell my student athletes, you see that lady by the freeway that sells the flowers?
Yeah.
Okay. When you choose a junior college, okay, I'm talking about Santa Ana College. I don't want to talk about any other college, okay? When you go to Santa Ana College, I put it in the you're like the lady on the side of the freeway selling flowers. Now, the student athlete is the flower. The student athlete is the flower. You have to make sure you're blooming. You got to make sure you're hydrated. You got water. You're growing. Everything is right about you.
Right.
The junior college you choose is going to be the lady or the gentleman that's running up and down to every single car that goes on the off-ramp. And that's me. I'm going to go to every single car. You want to buy these flowers? I'm going to do everything I can for them. My program, look at my bucket. There's water. There's everything you need for these flowers. The best I can do. Now, I can't help it if the flower don't want to drink the water. I can't help it if the flower don't want to bloom and he wants to sag like that.
Right.
The body language, I can't help that. But I'm going to run to every car. Now, the more cars I run to, the more people are going to see that bad body language. More cars I run to are going to see that you're not hydrating, showing up every day doing that.
Right.
But I'm going to run to every car. Now, can I choose the car that buys the flowers? No. I can't choose that car. The car chooses the flowers.
Right.
It's a matter of, do you have a coach? Do you have a person that's going to run to every car to make sure every stone is unturned to buy the flowers?
You know, Anthony, I think that's pretty awesome because when I was recruiting, when I did JC in recruiting, and you know, and the whole thing about JC is we say it's not about hanging out, it's about getting out. But what do you do as a coach to really help get kids out?
Yes.
You know, and sometimes people say, we got all these kids out. Well, what did you exactly do as a staff member to help A-Dub get kids out? And one of the things we prided ourselves when I was at Mount Sac, and that's where I really learned how to do some recruiting. We always told a kid, and I don't even remember hearing it. I heard it, but I don't know who said it, but they said, there's a scholarship out there. It might have been Margay Miller. There's a scholarship out there with your name on it. And if your character is good enough for me to talk to somebody about you, I'm going to get a blister on this finger calling people until I find your name for your scholarship.
That's 100% right, Coach.
So that's what you do. So if they're going to commit to you, you got to commit to them. And then when you can show that's going to happen, they're going to tell 3 more friends. It's just what you're doing right now. You know, you give. And you know how it is when you give, or sir, when you give, and you give and you give, you fall in line into the give. You know, you're going to get a third back. You're going to get 60% back. You get 100% back. Why? Because you're giving of yourself without anybody telling you to do it. And then you're finding something, and you're right. Here it is. This is where you want to go, but that's not where I want to be. No, but they have everything for you here. And then that kid will say, nope, that's not where I want to be.
That's exactly right, Coach. And there is a scholarship for everybody.
There is.
There is. And it's like just like the student athletes are a product, choosing a college is a business decision. We just saw the number 1 student athlete in the nation make a business decision based on what college he's going to. He went with Dion rather than going to Florida State because he could sign a deal that pays him $1 million to go to the HBCU rather than go to Florida State that I guess isn't going to pay him the $1 million. So it's all a business decision. We will talk to every single coach. So some things I do, obviously we have great relationships because I'm a brutally honest coach. I'm going to tell you 100%. I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to get a guy that doesn't know how to say yes or no, sir, that doesn't know not to show up to practice early or meetings early and do those things. You're going to get a guy that's part of a program, not just part of a team. And there's a big difference. A lot of people say, oh, I played on this team. We want to build a program with great assistants who all pull their weight. And the recruiting part of it is just selling what you already do. Right? We don't have to lie and pump everything up. We tell the truth because telling the truth is so rare nowadays that when you tell the truth, these college coaches appreciate it.
That's pretty awesome. Listen to Coach, you just talked yourself into the next question.
All right.
It's pretty awesome because Coach talks about getting a program and getting it done. You know, team, there's no I in it. We all hear that. There's a T, right? But there's an E in there, and there's an M in there, there's an M and an E. And it's not me. It's more energy, more enthusiasm, more execution, more everybody.
Yes,
so when that comes into play, I like the me involved in it. But when you looked at, you said the coaches and everybody's got to get in there. So I looked at right here in the sudden change concept, and you're building that foundation of that work to win mindset.
Yes.
You build it within the staff. And one of the things I noticed is that, and we put it in pictures in there, where the first thing I think I even popped in on your thing was a staff meeting. And because I looked when you posted, I went, hey, Dub getting it right. He got a staff meeting right there. He's right there in the bottom corner looking
Yes,
at
sir.
everybody's posture.
Yes, sir.
Right? So I says, so that's important because without complete staff meetings, then you sometimes get people in your staff going, hooray.
Exactly.
Meaning, it's good to give them freedom, but not independence. You know.
No, for
And
sure.
and with that in mind, and you gathered the staff around, Coach, and it was awesome. And you know, you guys went. Your first time out, you win a championship, you're doing all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
But how important is it to make sure that your foundation is with guys that you can trust in that circle that's going to be your GPS for the student athletes?
Is the microphone still working?
Yeah.
Okay. The staff is everything.
Yep.
The staff is the most important part of the program. Without a great staff, no matter who your players are or how good your student athletes are, you're going to fail them because you don't have a great staff. We were lucky enough as a staff to win with the Coach of the Year award this year for our conference. And it's really a staff award because as a head coach, and people that have been a head coach, they know, as a head coach, you coach less because you have to trust the staff members. You have to trust the people that are actually doing that job and building those relationships with those student athletes. Now, the most important thing about building a staff is you need to make sure the message is the same. The tone is different from each staff member, but the message doesn't change. So if I say, or we as a program want white socks, I can say you have white socks or you bear crawl 50 yards. Another staff member says, hey guys, you know the safeties, we wear white socks here. That's what we do. O-line is going to say, yeah, white socks, or you have to bring donuts the next day. It doesn't matter what the message is, and the tone, it matters what the message is, but it doesn't matter what the tone is.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. You have to find coaches on your staff that are willing to spread your message, but using their tone. Because I'm not trying to hire guys to be robots or be inauthentic.
You want them to be authentic and genuine.
Exactly right, Coach. But they need to have their own tone. And we have some great people, man, that have their tone and do their job, and I trust them. And I'm one of those crazy coaches too that I worry about everything. I want to see everything. But man, this year was just a blessing. We have some great coaches on the defensive side, and Coach O and his offensive side, Coach Fern doing a great job on the offensive side, man, that really held it down. And you know, we were the #1 scoring team in California. We top 10 in almost every defensive category in California. I mean, little Santa Ana College, man. And in 1 year, we can do special things because of the people involved.
And not only that, when you dare yourself to be great and you embrace the steps in between, you don't come out of a championship first season unless that stuff is happening then and there.
And you would see it. You know, we would watch film, we would get to the games, and our players would look at us like, oh, Coach, we got this. Already in the warm-ups, because the way our demeanor, our expectations, all that is at a higher standard. You know, you want to be great where you are, but if your standard is up here and you just hold it to that, these kids, man, they're resilient, man. They're going to rise to any level of expectations you put
Especially
for
the generation. I think this is the most incredible generation of kids that we have because they've gone through this crap that we've gone through. Us adults had to figure it out. They just go through the transitions as if it's nothing. They're like, why are you tripping?
Exactly.
You know? But, Coach, as we get to the end of this thing, you know, and everything, there's a sudden change, and that's why I said a sudden change. There's a timeout. You get the guys there, and then we ask, well, what do you do? So that's why you come in and let us know how you build your foundation.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome. But there's 2 minutes left in the game. And how do you handle deadlines? Peacefully when they're yours or they're not yours, but just plain do. Student athletes needing their grades. Hey, we got tests that are due by you linebackers or whatever it is. How do you handle it knowing that in the old days you get really mad and say you're not going to play. Then at the end of when it's all after the punishment, a kid might come up to you, this is pandemic, goes, Coach, I didn't come and I was late because, you know, one of my aunties passed away. So how do you handle that communication phase of it, but knowing it's still got to get done?
So what we do is and I learned this from Urban Meyer when he coached me my senior year at the University of Utah. We are all about accountability. What that means is if we lift 5 days a week and you miss one, that means you come in an extra day when the team doesn't. So when you step on the field, no one on the field is on the field that put in less work than anybody else. You know that if he missed one day during the week, he did his extra day on a Sunday when you were sleeping. And we do that for every single thing, whether it be practice, lifting, class, meetings, no matter what. And we did that all the way through high school. Now, the reasons people have, I mean, man, kids have some real reasons, man. I got to go to court. I got sick. I got COVID. I got this. It's excused. All that is fine. But we call it team makeup. You're not making it up to me, and it's not a punishment. You're doing the work you would have done if you were here, but you weren't here, so you're making it up to the team. So we call it team makeup. That's how we do it. And the student athletes, they understand it, and it builds cohesion, and everyone loves that because they know they're going to be excused. They just have to put in the work on an extra time like they would have.
Coach, that's awesome because I think I do all the time the M&Es and me, sir. You hear me say that all the time. But now we can add more excellence to it, because really that's what you're striving for.
Yes, sir.
And that's pretty damn awesome. And here we are. It's the last play of the game. And Coach, what do you leave for those who resonate on for their elevation of their journey and the enhancements for their program? What's a quote? When people leave 8 years from now and you run into somebody and they're at the mall and it happens to me all the time to introduce you to their kids, right? And they'll go, "Hey, Coach, man, every day and every way we get a little better in our house," right?
Yeah, I heard you say that.
So what is yours?
I have two. I think the first one is our family, verse 13. I don't just care about you. And I remember my mom said this when I tripped to Utah. I told you that story. My coach paid for our ticket. My mom said, "If you get hurt here, could you live here?" And I'm like, "Mom, I just committed. I'm a pretty good player." She's like, "No. If you get hurt, they offered you all this stuff because you're a good player. If you get hurt here, can you live here?" And I said, "Yes." And why did I say yes? Because Coach McBride, Coach Whittingham created a family atmosphere. So it's our family versus their team. They might be a team and they do their drills and all that stuff, but we're a family. We care about you as a person. And you see me on the coach, ask any of my players, you see me walking down or whatever, getting ready for practice, I'm not going to ask you about why you missed the deep third and cover 3. I'm going to ask you how your mom's doing. I remember when I was recruiting you, your grandfather was sick. How is he doing now? I'm going to ask you, financial aid, you get everything taken care of. Do you find a way to practice now? Did you buy that car you were looking at when you get your financial aid check you promised you were going to buy? Did you do that stuff? Because I care about you as a person, because we have so many players that get hurt and they're off the team, they forget about you.
Right.
We want you to come to practice, so you're still a part of this. We had our starting quarterback, the first game we lost by 2. On the final drive, we're driving down, he tore his ACL on the final drive for the 3rd time in 4 years. And he came to every game. He was a great leader. He actually became a pseudo coach. And those are the kind of things that we're building. So that's the first one. It's our family versus their team. The second one I'm going to say is do it for the ones that are about you, not the ones that doubt you. You want to, I grew up with a lot of hate in my heart. How come my dad, man, you know how much good of a football player I could have been if I could have played catch with somebody? Yeah. I'm playing catch with my mom. She can't throw. You know what I mean? We only go 15 yards deep, right? And I grew up with that a lot, and that's what fueled me. You know what I mean? When anyone ever, I was like kind of like 300, the movie. When anyone mentions Anthony White, they're going to think of me, not a hit. You know what I mean? Because he was a pretty good player in his day too. And later I found out. But as I got older and I met great people, I started to transform who I was, and now I do it. I want to make the people I love the most proud rather than the people that doubt me. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, "Oh, he said I could never be nothing. Oh, that 3rd grade teacher said I was going to be nothing. I'm going to show her wrong." No, man, do it for that 2nd grade teacher that loved you and said you could be anything you want. You know what I mean? Do it for my grandmother who could speak 5 words of English, and I would say, "Abuela, quiero atole," and she would bring that. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of things that I think about and that I want to make proud. I had 2 freshman coaches, Coach Zant, Coach Magical, and it's a blessing to mention their names still to this day. And both of them passed away. One passed away taking some student athletes to a state trip, and Coach Zant passed away driving to school in summer school. And both unexpected, both out of nowhere. But man, both of those guys did so much for me and cared about me. And I just want to make them proud. My wife, my kids. I was working so hard for my wife and kids before I even met them. Right. Before I even had my kids.
Awesome.
I'm not going to do any of this stuff and drink or smoke or party, and I'm going to get good grades, and I'm going to do all this because I want my wife to be happy, my kids to be proud, my kids to buy a churro at Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before I even met him or before I even had him. And that's what it's about.
Awesome. You know, and ending that and listening to that is truly tack time all the time. We can really, truly accept the knowledge that A-Dub that you threw down on us. It was incredible. You know, this quick little journey of what we did with you was awesome. We just thank you so much for coming here and giving us the opportunity to share you with the world.
Thank you, Coach.
You know,
Appreciate
and
it.
that's awesome. And at this time, we do the Take a Knee recap. You know, once again, we want to thank Tony Jefferson for doing what he does, and that's just being who he is. You know, as we see him right there, he's truly accepting knowledge. He's taking a knee, and now he's going to be able to mentor some of those young kids over there, and I can see why they want him there.
Definitely.
You know, he's going to enhance that program so awesome. It's going to be exactly just, you know, it's going to be just that. Is that who's that right there? Is that Eric Butler online right now? Is that who I see?
It's Coach Johnny Peoples, one of our assistant coaches. What's up, Coach?
Is that your coach?
Coach Mike Tellez. He trained me strength training my senior year. Able to my high school coach promised I would weigh a certain weight in high school, and they promised they would offer me. And Coach Magical called Coach Tellez and said, "Hey, you got to get this guy right." And Coach Tellez, man, he's incredible to me, myself, and not just myself, but my little brothers. And Coach Peoples is our corners coach, our defensive coach, our passing game coordinator at Santa Ana College. Coach, you got to zoom out a little bit. This guy is winning every single bodybuilding competition in California. Man, this guy's incredible. One of the best people I've met, and one of the great coaches on our staff, and he's a special person.
Awesome. Thanks for showing up and right here, just showing the support for the old man right here.
Hoorah.
There you go. You know, so as we go on, we want to also let people know our next guest is going to be in January. I believe it might be January 12th, and that's going to be the Wee Ball Sports. And Wee Ball Sports do a lot of things with the NFL, and we're going to try to get them lined in there with the JC programs, and hopefully we get them started with Santa Ana. And at this particular time, just want to say thank you, everybody. Perlina, Sura, thank you guys once again. Having you guys on the show is incredible.
Appreciate it.
Right? I want to
Thank
thank
you,
Mr. James Winslow and doing what he does. And then I want to thank Centennial for giving me this 62-year-old man an opportunity to coach some football again this year.
Man.
So that was fun.
Did a
but
great job, by the way.
you know, it's not about hanging out. It's about getting out. And what we did today is we brought A-Dub out of the city and into Burbank. And now we're going to be able to get that thing down, guys. As we look at everything, hey, we are R2G. We're ready to go. So it's tack time all the time.
Tap time, all the time, all the time. Tap time, all the time. Come on. Tap time, all the time, all the time. Tap time, all the time. Come on. I take the kid and make him see, make him believe in chasing his dreams and destiny. Truly accept the knowledge, a part of the recipe. In order to have an impact, I first must invest in me. We sowing seeds, locally, globally, overseas. Integrity, dignity, yeah, we living by both of these. The season my players had to take a knee to COVID thieves. The police keep taking knees on our neck, how we supposed to breathe. Now look at me, I'm leading the movement like Booker T. Let's look at the aftermath when Kaepernick took a knee. When MLK took a march, Coretta Scott took a seat. I look defeat in the eyes and I declare victory. On fourth and long, I go for the gusto, that's 6 for me. Right when I cross the TD, I drop down and I take a knee. I'm giving God all the glory for giving the grace to me. Like I take a knee every morning and thank him for waking me. I take a knee.